You could link back who they were, their connection to bin Laden, connection to the Yemeni house, etc. You could have gone to any court, and any judge in the FISA court and say, we want a FISA on that resident of San Diego. It would have been easy. And we would have surveilled them. And we would have learned more information. People who are going to watch this, they're going to say, oh, it's hindsight 2020. But no, I'm not talking hindsight 2020. I'm talking basic logical investigation.
Again, the FBI chronology, compiled after the 9/11 attacks, describes precisely how al-Midar and al-Hazmi begin training for their 9/11 operation.
April 4th, 2000, Nawaf al-Hazmi received 1 hour of introductory flight instruction from the National Air College located at 3760 Glen Curtis Road, San Diego. May 4th, Khalid al-Midhar debit card purchase, 2 Jepson training kits. June 10, 2000, al-Midhar departs the U.S. via Lufthansa Flight 457 from Los Angeles, California to Frankfurt, Germany.
Khalid al-Midhar is heading home to see a newborn son. For the next 13 months, he will live with his wife and baby in the house in Yemen. The house NSA is monitoring. He will even apply for a new U.S. visa, and incredibly, he will get it. December 8th, 2000. Hani Hanjour, another 9/11 hijacker, touches down in San Diego. 3 days later, he joins Nawaf al-Hazmi on a road trip to New Jersey, where the rest of the hijackers are assembling. Once more, the FBI chronology compiled after the attacks documents their 5-month trip.
March 1st, 2001, Hanjour has 8 hours of simulator training at Jet Tech. April 1st, Nawaf al-Hazmi received a speeding ticket and received a summons for failure to wear his seatbelt. May 1st, al-Hazmi filed a police report with the Fairfax County, Virginia Police Department alleging he was mugged by an unknown black man.
June 21st, 2001. A reporter from the Middle East Broadcasting Corporation interviews bin Laden's lieutenants in Afghanistan. They hint that a major attack may soon take place. U.S. forces in the Mideast are put on the highest alert. After the interview is released, NSA's traffic analysis detects a huge spike of threatening communications.
There was a great anticipation that there was going to be an attack on U.S. interests by al-Qaeda. Most people believed it was going to be overseas. And so tragically, their focus was on their job, which was with looking overseas, and not so much on what was happening in the U.S., which they viewed as the FBI's job.
As the chronology goes on, July 4th, 2001, al-Midhar entered the U.S. on Saudi Arabian Flight 53 via JFK in New York City, using a B-1 business visa and listing his intended address as the Marriott Hotel, New York City. That was the Marriott Hotel at the World Trade Center.
To make final preparations for their attack, al-Hazmi, al-Midhar, and Hanjour drive south on the New Jersey Turnpike. They avoid staying in large cities. They avoid hotel chains with computerized registration. Instead, the crew drives into the Maryland town of Laurel and checks into the low-budget Valencia motel. By now, they have their final assignment, targeting the Pentagon.
Throughout their whole journey, whether they were in San Diego, or they were in New Jersey, or they were in Laurel, Maryland, they were communicating back and forth to the bin Laden Ops Center in Yemen. NSA was listening in on the Ops Center, recording the conversations and then transcribing them. But the NSA never alerted any other agency that the terrorists were in the United States and moving across the country towards Washington.
On the face of it, Laurel, Maryland looks like a typical Washington suburb.
What's very different is that this town happens to be right next door to NSA's headquarters.
While NSA has detected a spike in communications threatening an imminent attack, bin Laden's hitmen have taken refuge right in their own backyard.
August 18th, Hani Hanjour, rented mailbox number 433. The day before the hijacking, Nawaf Al-Hazmi, Walmart, 3665, Food Factory, Khalil Midhar. 9/6/2001, Nawaf Al-Hazmi, Khalil Midhar, Hani Hanjour, Gold's Gym, Greenbelt, Maryland.
The hijackers seemed to blend in very well. Even when they shopped for improvised weapons for the hijackings, they shopped in a Target store just down the street from NSA. No one thought what they were doing was suspicious. So here you have these two groups of people. One, the terrorists who are plotting the largest terrorist operation in U.S. history. And you have NSA, which had been listening to some of their phone calls for years. And now they're living side by side, neither of them knowing that the other is there. What was really tragic is that if General Hayden had looked out his 8th floor window west towards Laurel, just 2 miles away, he could have almost seen the motel in which the hijackers were living. I mean, it's one of the biggest ironies in the history of American intelligence.
On the day of the 9/11 attacks, most of NSA's employees are ordered to leave their headquarters. Afraid that NSA might be another target, some of the few who remain move from their upstairs offices to lower floors. Others tack up black curtains to block their windows. They seem to have no idea what their own agency and the CIA both knew, but had said nothing about.
Had we been able to realize how significant that was, put it together, and get it to the agencies who could have made use of it in time, would there have been a different end to the 9/11 story?
I can't come up with a rational reason why I didn't break the rules and pick up the phone and tell that the hijackers or really bad guys are in the U.S. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to come to terms with that. I don't know. I really don't know.
On the 13th of September, I gave an address to an empty room, but we beamed it throughout our entire enterprise about free peoples always having to decide to balance their security and their liberties. And then I told the workforce there are going to be a lot of pressures to push that banner down towards security. And our job at NSA was to keep America free by making Americans feel safe again.
Those pressures aren't long in coming. When Hayden is asked by Vice President Cheney what more NSA can do, he answers not much, without breaking FISA laws, the laws that force NSA to obtain a warrant to listen in on Americans. 3 weeks after the attacks, President Bush bypasses those laws by secretly issuing an executive order. NSA will no longer have to worry about obtaining warrants to eavesdrop inside America. If 9/11 was a wake-up call, the response is a license to listen to almost anything and everything.
And part of that wake-up call, certainly right after 9/11, included the fact that you needed to take some strict measures. You needed to take some action that would allow you to not let that happen again.
But to make the new program work, Hayden must finally bring the National Security Agency into the modern age. The backbone of global communications had moved from easily intercepted satellite signals in space to fiber optic cables buried under the ocean. To understand the challenge NSA faces, NOVA follows one email message as it circles the globe. In Malaysia's capital city of Kuala Lumpur, James Bamford is researching Al-Qaeda's communications network. In a busy cafe, he types out an email message to NOVA's producers in Boston. Bamford's message is harmless, but contains the kinds of keywords and phrases that NSA supercomputers are programmed to detect. Phrases like, blow up the White House, destroy the Capitol building, biological warfare. When he presses send, Bamford's message is instantly mixed in with dozens of other messages on the same wireless network. Then routed to a large telecommunications center in the city. There, voice calls are converted from analog to digital signals and streamed as pulses of light through a fiber optic cable that dives into the South China Sea off Malaysia's coast. Along the way, Bamford's message is merged with thousands of phone calls, emails, and faxes in dozens of languages from hundreds of Asian cities. The jumble of data crosses under the Pacific Ocean at the speed of light. Just 0.05 of a second after the message was sent, it comes ashore 6 feet under this lonely stretch of California beach near Morro Bay. There, beneath screeching gulls and surfers in wetsuits, Asian communications stream in. A few miles inland, the message passes through a small, nondescript building near San Luis Obispo.
If you want to tap into international communications, it seems like the perfect place is San Luis Obispo. That's where 80% of all communications from Asia enter the United States.
But under NSA